the Oscars were super, super wholesome this year. Yeah, wholesome.
Did you actually watch them?
Kind of. I mean, I had them in the background while I was working, and I was able to kind of like, catch the like who won best movie type stuff, like that was the one I was really hoping for. I mean, it's really cool to see from our Oscar nominated block, or even though I thought Bullet Train was on there regardless. Pinocchio winning best animated feature, and Everything Everywhere All at Once won 7 or 8 out of its 11 nominations.
Damn.
Yeah. And it was also really cool, like, see Brendan Fraser win Best Actor for The Whale. Cornish alum, him and I together.
Oh, and what's his face from Everywhere All at Once? And I didn't know that he was an Encino Man.
Yeah. No, that's also, that was kind of like
What's his name again?
Ke Huy Quan.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of there was also it's like cute little serendipitous stuff like that, it's like both of them very young, they did a movie together in the early 90s and they both won same year.
Yeah.
Both kind of comeback stories in their own rights.
Yeah.
It's just,
I didn't realize how old Harrison Ford was.
Harrison Ford's old.
Yeah. Just seeing them together too. I was like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you were like a grown man in Indiana. You were like a man.
The only thing that I really I wish Stephanie Sue would have won Best Supporting Actress instead of Jamie Lee Curtis. I think Jamie Lee Curtis did a wonderful job in everything, but I think Stephanie Sue, she fucking killed it in that. Like her and Michelle Yeoh, their dynamic together was just amazing. So yeah.
That's cool. I didn't watch it. I've seen just clips of it, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't watch it while I was at home because I don't have ABC, but just to have it on playing so I could just look up, be like, all right. It was like, I remember looking up and I was like, and I saw I think All Quiet on the Western Front winning something. And I was like, this better not have been fucking best movie or not.
It's like, for being into movies as much as I am, I never watched them.
Well, because the Oscars generally are kind of like, they're generally the Oscar goes to just whatever had the most money type thing. Like Return of the King winning Best Picture of the Year. It was like they're literally, that's a handout in my opinion. I don't think that movie deserved to win Best Picture of the Year.
That movie's pretty great. Just say it.
But no, this was the first year with seeing all the nominations and everything. I was like, you know what? This actually looks like it might be a pretty interesting year, and it was. To me.
Sorry, I'm turning off all my volumes. I forgot to do that.
Turn off all your shit, man. All right, we've been talking about this for a minute.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Where did you first watch this movie?
I don't remember.
It was on Netflix for a while. I know that.
Maybe that's it then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I streamed it.
I was I remember I think it was fairly new when maybe 2010 when I watched it on Netflix because I lived it when I was teaching when I first watched this movie.
Well, because it came out on DVD in 2010.
Yeah, I want to get the DVD. I really want to listen to Adam Elliott's commentary.
That might be weird though, because the movie is basically just narration. So you'd be listening to a narration over a narrating.
Yeah, they probably see how he edited it in there. Hey guys, how's everybody doing out there? Welcome back to another week of Tommy and Jacob talking about movies.
We're talking about Mary and Max.
Today we're talking about Mary and Max, continuing and finishing off our independent animated movie block
of 2009.
Of 2009, serendipitously. Yeah, this actually, it's interesting. I think since they are independent animated movies, there was really no big there was no box office release.
No.
It was just through film festivals, whatever accolades they could get, and then here's the DVD or here's a streaming type thing. So, because this premiered January 15th, Sundance 2009.
Yeah.
You want to give us a quick synopsis?
Two unlikely people become pen pals and grow together? I don't know.
Yeah. Were you trying to keep it PC? Like,
No, I don't know. Little girl and 40-year-old man become pen pals.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they both at the time they both probably share very similar IQ when it starts.
19 and in the 70s.
Yeah, starts in the 70s.
Yeah,
Goes to the 90s.
Pen pals were a thing.
Yeah.
Did I ever have a pen pal? I don't think I ever did the pen pal thing.
When I was in elementary school, I remember starting this pen pal thing, but I don't know if I ever got a letter back. I remember everybody in the class writing to a pen pal, and I think mine was like somewhere in Australia.
That feels right to me too. Like I feel like I wrote something, but it never grew from that. Yeah, I have a weird memory about that. Anyways,
what a weird concept now that I think about it.
It's kind of cool, but
it's
a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like in today's age, it'd be like me just sending a random DM to someone I saw on Instagram, like, "Hey, you want to be friends?"
Yeah, yeah.
You look cool across the world.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I guess with technology, it's kind of more of a streamlined process.
I think with today's society or the culture of today's society, I think it's a little bit more weird.
Well, yeah, like even like this situation, a 44-year-old man.
Oh yeah, this is just very strange.
Writing letters to a little girl is like you're getting put on a list, Oh,
100%. No, like that's kind of like this oddly uncomfortable thing in the premise of this movie, but then the innocence between it, you just kind of look past that at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the magical things about the story of this movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get into that a little, after, whatever. I mean, we don't really have to talk about like counts because we did it last week. So my number's now 46.
Yeah, now 54. Well, no, because I had already seen it. So yeah, so that's still 53.
Mine's 46 because I didn't count Secret of Kells last week. Cool story, bro.
Cool story.
All right, so yeah, Mary and Max. This was wrote and directed and designed and kind of filmed, I guess. I mean, he has directed photography, but from the mind of an Australian stop motion animator, Adam Elliot. Mm-hmm. He kind of got recognition. Well, he won an Academy Award for his short Harvey Crumpet a couple of years prior to Mary and Max,
which I also remember.
I've seen that.
I've seen
that. What's the most recent one that he had a release was
Ernie Biscuit.
Yeah, and I meant to actually try to see if I can find that, and I forgot to.
Well, there's one pre-production called Memoir of a Snail.
Yeah, Memoir of a Snail.
It centers on Grace Puddle, a lonely hoarder of ornamental snails who lives in Canberra.
Yeah.
Canberra.
His website has all of his shorts available to watch.
That's cool.
So after this, if anybody is interested in checking out Adam Elliot, it's adamelliot.com.au. And yeah, it has Ernie Biscuit, Harvey Crumpet, Uncle, Cousin, and Brother, which are all of his other shorts.
One of the more interesting IMDb. Grew up on a shrimp farm in southern Australia together with two brothers, one sister, and two parrots.
Is that him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know why I didn't read that. Yeah, I mean, he seems to be because of, this is like, this art style is like his mind, and he's really into like not only just like the idea of stop animation, but like the way that he edits is with a very old, like antiquated, like editing machine. Like he didn't want to use like a computer.
Well, it definitely makes it for if anything, an interesting watch.
Yeah.
It's an interesting look.
It's a very interesting, like very unique. It's definitely, it's, I don't want to say grotesque, but it's unsettling-ish. It
is unsettling. It's also, like it kind of makes me think of like something. Well, but I guess that's more grotesque. I was gonna say like Little Nightmares.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking like in the realm of like Salad Fingers almost sometimes. Ish. No.
I kind of see where you're.
Yeah, you see where my brain's
I
at.
kind of see where you're at. But I mean, did you play Little Nightmares?
I've only seen like clips from it. I've never ever played it all the way through.
Like a very.
I mean, I see where you're saying as well.
Well, because it's very like not aggravated. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Exaggerated body features.
Yeah.
Like in the ears are like tubes, and then the ears.
Yeah.
It's very just interesting.
Well, I mean, it's very much Wallace and Gromit.
But Wallace and Gromit in me is cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smoother.
It's just I think what it is Wallace and Gromit has more color.
Well, yeah.
Because I mean.
But even they're like Wallace and Gromit doesn't have that's what I mean by smoother. It doesn't have nooks and crannies. Like think of the mom's design. Mm-hmm. With the really big eyes, the half open eyelids, with the the makeup and all the wrinkles and everything. Like
Wallace and Gromit looks more like it's like polished. Goofy and lighthearted.
Yeah, yeah.
While this looks more gritty and
I could see it being like making people uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. Actually, there was a moment because I'm kind of curious what Fallon's reaction to this movie was if she watched it with you.
Nah, she was asleep with us.
That's fair. There was a moment while I was sitting there, I was like, I don't know if she would really like watching this because of just the animation style. Like, it might just make her be like, I don't really like, just like, I don't like this. I don't want to like, just looking at the aesthetic, and I can see people being automatically being like, I don't really want to watch this.
Because it's almost kind of like body dysmorphic too.
Ish.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
funny that that's a theme in this movie as well.
Oh, I guess it's content warning. There's a lot of stuff in this.
Yeah.
Dealing with anxiety, mental illness, teasing. Well, actually, here I had it's right here. Just to get out of the way.
It's on
themes. The film deals with themes including childhood neglect, friendship, addiction, alcoholism, recovery, the obscurity of life, teasing, loneliness, mental illness, autism, Asperger's syndrome in particular, obesity, suicide, depression, isolation, and anxiety. And this is an hour-and-a-half long movie, and it actually does.
It covers all of
that. So heads up, that's what we're going to be talking about today. But it does it in a really a pretty great way.
In a very beautiful way.
Yeah. It's really nice.
All right, so let's go. We want to get into this, I can tell. Let's really quick. So Adam Elliot, writer, director. I couldn't find if he has any type of animation studio. He's very particular on how he likes to create. So he doesn't release things very much. So I'm really interested to watch his next short, and I hope he does one more feature before the end of everything, when the world ends. Let's go into the voice actors in this.
Sure.
Let's start with the narrator.
Yeah, because that's the voice you
hear the most of.
Yeah.
So this movie is narrated by Barry Humphries, who I don't really know if a lot of Americans really know who he is.
He was in Spice World.
He was in Spice World. He's the Goblin King in The Hobbit: Unexpected Journey.
The Goblin King.
When they're in the cave and the goblins, he's the Goblin King.
Oh, the big one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, he was the Goblin King. He's more known as a renowned Australian comedian. Probably his most popular worldwide figure that I think maybe even Americans would know is his drag character Dame Edna Everage, which she's bright red lipstick, the sharp glasses with if you were to look her, did you look up anything on him?
Mm-mm. I wrote down a couple of things. Yeah, but
I think Dame Edna Everage is probably his most popular character or persona, because he's kind of that type of comedian, not like a stand-up comedian, but he does little bits and performances and has characters and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I see it.
You see who she is?
Yeah, I see who she is. I have a weird memory of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Huh. Cool look.
Right? He's he's not really well known in America because he just hasn't done a lot of American media.
Mm-hmm. Shock treatment.
That movie is interesting.
I'm looking at images of that too, and that looks like kind of cool. Anyways, yeah. So our narrator, Barry Humphries.
Do you have anything else to add with him? Mm-mm. Who do you want?
Ally McBeal.
He's an Ally McBeal.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I got Bethany Whitmore next, just to give her a quick shout out because she was the voice of a young Mary. She's more or less just more of an Australian actress. One movie that pointed out that was on her list that I just because the trailer came up on her IMDb and I just got captivated by it. Girl Asleep looks really interesting.
What is that about?
It's about a girl having like a weird visceral dream. It seems like, but it's like musical meets Napoleon Dynamite-ish. Not like actual musical, but like it seemed very interesting, like visually, like it was almost like Wes Anderson-ish as well.
Oh, well, that's definitely up your alley.
Yeah. And then I got Toni Collette, who does the voice of older adult Mary.
About a boy.
I knew you were going to say that first.
I love that movie.
I know. I think she's most recognizable now for people right now is Hereditary.
Yeah, Hereditary.
And then Academy Award nomination on The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, okay, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I don't remember her in Sixth Sense.
She's the mom.
The mom. Like Bruce Willis's...
No, not
wife?
the wife. The mom.
The mom. Oh, the kid.
Yeah.
The kid.
Yeah.
The I See Dead People kid. Mom. What? I just said I don't remember that movie. I don't remember.
It's like the most important plot line of the plot of the movie.
When I think of Sixth Sense, weirdly, the thing that comes to mind is the whole little girl ghost. The one where the mom was making her sick.
Yeah.
That's why I was also getting confused.
I mean, that's one of the most that's a very visceral moment because that's
brutal.
That's the first ghost that you see, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Through Haley Joel Osment's eyes.
Haley Joel Osment, that's his name. Wasn't he in a show recently? Like randomly? Was he in The Boys?
He was in Umbrella Academy.
Was it Umbrella Academy?
Wait, no, maybe it was The Boys.
Yeah, wasn't he like a sidekick?
Yeah,
or something?
no, yeah, it was The Boys.
Yeah,
he was in like an episode, and I think he got his head blown off
by
or something.
Homelander or something.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Toni Collette, voice of adult Mary, and she does a wonderful job. And then stealing the show, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
It doesn't even sound like
it doesn't sound like him at all.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Academy Award winner. And I just want now that the Academy Awards happen, I'm just like, who's won Academies? Academy Award winner Philip Seymour Hoffman. Also, they had already either been nominated or won their awards before they filmed this or recorded this movie as well. So it's like he got like fucking grade A fucking people to perform in his shit. But yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman, the Master, I think, or he won his award for Capote. Mm-hmm.
I always just think of Along Came Polly.
Yeah, I was waiting. I'm just like, come on, say it.
Make it rain!
White chocolate!
White chocolate!
His last
Free up!
last roles before he passed away were in the Hunger Games as the game master slash revolution leader.
Yeah, rebel without a cause.
My favorite roles from him are like The Big Lebowski. He's the butler to
Holy shit!
He's the
totally forgot about Ken.
I can't remember the
character. His name's like Ken or something.
Yeah. He's just hilarious in that. And then Boogie Nights, I really like him in that because he's just a wreck of a human being.
He's also an Almost Famous, which I don't remember that movie
He's
either.
the editor that the kids constantly...
Almost Famous. It's the kid writing about the band, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the kid's underage, but he lied about his age.
Okay.
Falls in love with Kate Hudson.
The porn.
Yeah, Boogie Nights is Mark Wahlberg with a big dick.
With a fake dick that he would get drunk and hit people with.
Yeah.
His friends, he would just whack them with it.
Burt Reynolds won an Academy Award for that movie.
God, that'd be fun to watch. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Boogie Nights?
And when I think of that, I just think of what's her butt kicking the shit out of that person with her roller skates on.
Heather Graham. Yeah.
That's it's weird what, like, especially movies you haven't seen in a while. What
sticks?
Yeah, what is like locked in there is like, oh, that's the movie with this. Can't tell you anything else about Boogie Nights except that, and when he whips it out, I remember that pretty clearly.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's scene with Mark Wahlberg really sticks out to me. because it's just such an awkward moment where he kind of like gets Mark Wahlberg like away from like this party and just like just breaks down. He's like, just let me see your dick. Just let me see your dick. Can I just? I'll pay you money if I can suck. I just want to suck your dick. Like,
Yep, just don't remember that.
Yeah, like it's kind of it's a crazy weird scene. It's great acting by Philip Seymour Hoffman. So
any other?
That's pretty much everybody that I put down.
I was gonna honorable mention Adam Elliot is also a voice actor in this. Yeah. And then fucking Eric Bana.
Oh yeah, that's right, Eric Bana. He's an Australian actor.
Yeah, but I was just kind of like, again, like you're like, oh, okay, because he's the Greek kid.
Yeah,
Damien.
He plays the Greek kid that she's in love with.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to say the last name.
Yeah, who turns out to have it.
Odonopoulos.
Yeah, it's okay. I found it like I had kind of forgotten about that side story, and then when she says like, oh, when the narrator's like, and his pen pal, blah blah blah. And then I was like, he's wearing that Boy George T-shirt. And I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah. He's in the closet. Yeah. Which also, like, when she, like, mounts him after they're married, he's like, Mary, what are you doing? Mary! But yeah.
That's pretty much everybody.
It's like, I find, it's like, yeah, it's all more or less like Australian, like, voice actors and, like, actors and stuff, except for it looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman and, like, two other people. Independent Australian films.
Yeah. Getting reviews was hard.
Yeah, was it? No,
there's no Metacritic, so I actually had to like do work.
Oh my god. Put in work for it.
I had to put in work for it. So I kind of made my own positive, mixed, and negative.
Word.
So and they're all pretty short. I just thought this was funny because also it was like kind of topical because it is 2009. Mm-hmm. Lawrence Boyce at Little White Lies. Little star says top critic, gave it a 5 out of 5. Up may be a really good film, but compared to Mary and Max, it's an episode of Thundercats.
Damn,
I thought that was funny.
That's pretty fucking funny.
That was really funny. So 4 out of 5. Kath Clark at Timeout. Also top critic. What is 4 out of 5? Sorry. While perhaps it doesn't fully sustain its 90-odd minute running time, Mary Max's moving celebration of oddness and friendship.
Yeah, okay.
And then Liam Lacey at Globe and Mail gave it a 2 out of 4. The mixture of autistic sophistication and emotional crudeness cancel each other out, which I only said because I didn't really fully understand that.
Say that again, yeah.
The mixture of autistic sophistication and emotional crudeness cancel each other out.
Artistic or autistic?
Artistic.
Artistic. What again?
Sophistication and emotional crudeness cancel each other out.
Emotional crudeness.
And that was like the lowest one, so I was like, I kind of wanted to bring that up because, and again, it's so old that the page is not, I can't find the full one.
Yeah.
But.
Interesting. I mean, did you see the critical response that was on Wikipedia?
Here's Justin Chang, Verity, clearly a labor of love, but one designed perhaps to be loved by a very select few.
Ooh. I mean, this is definitely a movie that's not for everybody. Like, it's in a very specific vein of cinema and themes and story.
I think, though, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you were interested in this and never watched it.
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't sit someone down and be like, you have to watch this, because also I don't know. I wouldn't want to cause any kind of situation where someone feels like triggered or,
Yeah. That would
or bummed out.
I would definitely kind of like what Max goes through every time he reads one of Mary's fucking letters at the beginning.
So it's like, but it's one of those, I think that if you've heard of this and you've been interested and you don't watch it, it's kind of like.
It's interesting to kind of point out, it's like, because we live in a world with like people like wanting like trigger warnings and content warning stuff, and like in 2009 that wasn't really a thing, but we are clearly seeing an older man who has complications, like comprehending like a lot of like human, interactions, having anxiety and panic attacks through triggering events of reading something, So it's interesting to kind of see, it's like people are like, this never existed before. It's like, it was clearly always there. We just didn't really have words or care to like look at it.
I think it just was it was quieter. You know what I mean? It's really like off the mountaintop now.
Yeah. Well, it's people are actually vocal about it.
Yeah. That's
as opposed to like, because if people try to be vocal about it, yeah. I have here on Wikipedia, there's a Matt Raviere writing it for In Film Australia. The story is paper thin, and some stretches of it are simply too long. Yet whenever the narrative thread threatens to tear, the sheer authenticity and bold honesty of the characters save the day.
But even then, it's like I actually don't agree with the stretches too long thing, because it works.
But I think,
for me.
Well, what's interesting is like I think that's the characters coming in and saving the day, to where you're maybe not noticing that,
Yeah.
For some people it feels to be going that way, and then all of a sudden the honesty of these characters are like just it's so captivating.
And it's like, even with these themes, like, that we're talking about can be triggering for people, it's funny.
It's got it's a dark sense of humor.
Yeah, but I think it's funny because of the honesty behind it.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of sit there and go, oh yeah.
Yeah, so like essentially,
especially now being older.
Yeah.
And having had, as I probably did, but as I get older, the more anxiety I do have about, so it's like sitting there, when he's like, like that, I'm like, been there.
I know that feeling.
I know that feeling. Like, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, and being able to look at these, like, let me go back to it real quick. Childhood neglect, friendship, all addiction, all this kind of stuff. It's like, now that we are older and we have seen these things or been very privy to them,
or experienced them ourselves,
or
realized we experienced them and blocked it out
and didn't know that we were experiencing that.
Yeah.
So it's like very as adult now, and that's what's kind of, because it has, like, I guess that's the best way to put it. What's really like kind of magical about this movie is it is talking about these things, but there is like this honesty and almost like moments lightheartedness. It is like watching a cartoon, and it has that kind of whimsical feel to it. It's like, oh yeah, Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing, Wallace and Gromit, but we're talking about depression.
Yeah,
and it kind of it was like, this is a bummer, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
Really quick, I just kind of to kind of put into still a bigger context, how this movie is presented is not just like it's not a normal narrative like stream, like A to B, like character like arc, in sense of like how you would see it like a regular movie, because what it is like, you have this narrator who presents these characters, Mary and Max, and then Mary just writes a letter to Max.
She just picks a name randomly out of a phone book, basically.
Yeah, and like, it's not even like you don't necessarily see like, oh, and this is Mary, and then you see how she goes. Like, the narrator's like, and her mother Vivian, da 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 da, and like then it like kind of has like montage, like it's like montage ish, like explaining who these characters are around Mary. And he's kind of like saying, and then Mary wrote a letter to Max, and then it goes to Max, and the narrator's now like explaining Max's life.
Yeah. But what's also interesting too about that, like, even if the part of the kind of humor, she writes to this random person, Max, to ask how babies are made in America.
Yeah.
Because in Australia, her grandpa told her that babies are plucked out of the bottom of beer. Yeah. And so she, is like, dear Max, where do babies come from in America? And it's like, that's the innocence.
And then his honest answer, because Max, and they said he's autistic, and they don't. It's what's interesting, since it's like at this point set in the 70s, they didn't really have language or any, like, autism was being kind of like really discovered at this time. And so like he's like, what does he call himself? An Austie?
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about that, but I don't remember.
Oh no, an Aspie.
An Aspie.
An Aspie.
Yeah, an Aspie.
And so then he's got just like, he's like, I see the world very logical and this and this. So like,
And people confuse me because they are not logical. And you're just like,
it's like, yeah. Like when it's like, there's a quick little thing where like, he's like in a waiting office and the nurse like turns a sign to him and says, please take a seat or please take a chair. Mm-hmm. Then you see him on the bus with a chair from the
very literal.
Please take. Yeah, he took it very literal. But then he's telling her about the baby. He's like, my mother told me that a rabbi will sit on an egg until.
Yeah, and if you're Catholic, a nun.
And if you're an atheist, a prostitute.
God, and there's something also just I gotta say about Philip Seymour Hoffman's
New York Jewish accent.
So great.
It's like I had no idea, like when I first watched it, had no idea that it was him.
Never in a million years would I guess that.
And even if someone was to be like, "Hey, watch this movie," that's film. Like if I showed it to somebody, I'm like, "That's Philip Seymour Hoffman," they'd probably like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
You're fucking lying to me.
It's like chocolatey. I don't know. There's something that's just I really find comforting about,
the way that he talks.
Yeah. And if you're atheist, a prostitute. Like I just really enjoy it a lot. And that's like because of the way it's narrated from their point of view, it has this like storybook kind of feel to it.
Yeah, because it's not. There's no like there's very very little traditional dialogue in this movie.
Yeah.
It's all through narration and letters that they write back and forth from each other.
And the crucial part about that, I think, too, is that since they are letters, it is completely from it's 100% their perspective, you know? And because the characters never once actually, like, talk to each other.
No.
Which is very...
Not actually once.
Yeah, they don't actually ever have a verbal... So it's literally just
thinking about the end of the movie. God damn it. It's sad. You're so close to actually meeting. It's the device that Adam Elliot decided to tell the story, and like I feel like all of his because Harvey Crumpet is in the same style of a narrator. Like all of his like shorts kind of seem to be in this way.
I just want to read actually what is that one about? I don't remember.
Harvey Crumpet is about this guy who has Tourette syndrome and is also like low IQ.
The autobiography of a man who has Tourette syndrome, chronic bad luck, menial jobs, nudist tendencies, in a book of facts. It's just
his facts. He can't spell facts right.
Yeah,
it's facts that he learns about life.
That was so hard for my brain to read because it says FAKTS, and I was like, "What? Facts? You got my facts."
Yeah, that one. It's really interesting. But that won an Academy Award for Best Animated Short. I think he won it because it's all stop animation. Like he like makes these and burns them himself and stuff. Like
and but it's also like it's the odd kind of subject material that is very
and the way that it's presented and talked about because it's presented in a very lighthearted way. Like Max at one point in his on like as they're like writing, Mary and Max write their letters, they'll like sign off like sincerely yours or sincerely Mary, P.S. blah blah blah, PSS, la da da. It's like PSSSSS, yeah. And like, Max is going on a rant of like all the jobs that he's had, and he's like, and my fifth job was I worked at a condom factory. PSS, I've never used a condom.
Well, it's like, and also even just the look of it too, with like Max's world being like black and white, and then Mary's being like sepia. Sepia was really cool. And it was interesting. He's like, I thought it was interesting because you didn't need to do that, but it was a really good choice to do that. Yeah, you know what I mean.
There's also like what's really interesting is because that it sets a tone for like Max's world is very black and white. He's logical. Yeah, he is. He takes everything literal. Like the gray area doesn't really exist too much around him. Yeah.
I was trying to make advances at me.
Yeah.
And it is confusing. He's got all the makeup on. Him. The lipstick all over him.
But then Mary's is like sepia and it's like there is like color to it, but the color is just gross and sad. It's it's like something that she's
puddle water.
Yeah, puddle. Yeah, because her the color of her eyes is a muddy,
muddy
muddy
and
water.
She has a brown birthmark on her forehead that she's all
that looks like poo.
Yeah,
the color
looks like poo.
Mm-hmm. Where was my brain going?
Sorry.
I forget what I was going to say.
We both went completely still right there. I wonder how that's going to look on YouTube.
Frozen.
Buffering.
Buffering. Our brains are buffering. Damn it. I had like a thought that was going to connect all that shit together too. Sepia tone, black and white, Max, writing. Oh yeah, Mary. What's really interesting is kind of you see Mary grow through all of this, like it's because she's a young child and she writes until like through college to Max, on and off. Like Max, like when Max ends up having like through Mary, he learns how to kind of like communicate better in general as well. Like they make themselves better people when they are writing to each other. So then when they have that falling out, when she decides to write that book,
like
dissertation on him without his permission, which I think that that's obviously just like it's a good like plot device for Adam Elliot to kind of like force this narrative in the direction. But it does confuse me that Mary wouldn't have like written to him in one of their letters like, since I'm learning about this, I would like, do you mind if I talk about you? Yeah,
but also that kind of sounds like a young person thing.
Yeah. Well, especially when she's like, we're going to have a cure for it. And he's already told her like, I don't want to be cured. I like who I am.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. That was an interesting point too.
Yeah.
It was like, you're saying there's something wrong with me and I don't feel like there's something wrong with me. And that was interesting. But I just realized too that we were talking about how like even just in general, the older man writing the young girl thing. But I remember the mom even freaks out when she discovers.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like Mary like secretly does this, and that's also kind of what's funny is her neighbor across the street, Len. I like how he's an agoraphobic. So he's afraid to go outside. But
or agoraphobe. I don't know.
Yeah, something. Yeah, but she keeps calling him a homophobic. He has homophobia because she doesn't know the proper term, and as she gets older, you see her like correcting the right terms for this stuff and whatnot.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's very well written in that sense, and the heartbreaking sense of when Max like freaks out and it sends Mary into a spiral, and she then essentially like she's ready to kill herself, and then Len coming across getting over his agoraphobia, like, and then she like it's just oh man, it's this overcoming of your like I don't want to say mental illness, but your overcoming of. It's like Len coming over and actually like him overcoming his agoraphobia is like the metaphor of like everything can be set right,
Yeah, well, but it's also like it has this. It kind of like the whole movie's kind of dark, but towards this point too, Mary is now an adult. So even when she's a kid, she's talking about her mom and everything. She's a little girl and doesn't really understand that her mom's an alcoholic. Yeah, and is always drunk. So there's just like again that whimsical through the innocent eyes of a child thing. Yeah. And then when she becomes an adult and, now, she gets left and, she's now dealing with the problems as the mindset of an adult. It takes this really dark turn, but like not like so, because the dark has been kind of like sewn in light, like kind of hidden, read between the line kind of thing. Yeah. Because of her perspective. But yeah, then suddenly she's an adult and you're like, holy shit. Like it gets real quick. Yeah. But
like it's also like her battle with alcoholism can kind of like because she saw it's that cycle. It's like she saw that, well, this is my mother did this, and now I see. Now I,
Well, because even that, like, and that's like it shouldn't be funny, but it is. Like, the mom is always, and she likes to bake, and all of her shit has a cigarette put out on it. Or even when she goes to make cupcakes and she throws them in the dishwasher.
Yeah,
and it's like. It's dark subject matter, but they're doing it in a humorous way.
Well, it's like it's an exaggerated, like a cartoon, an exaggerated reality, an exaggerated, presentation, because it to show it's a reflection of how these people also then perceive their reality as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very interesting thing. Is like because even like all of the animals have like humanistic characteristics.
Like the eyes?
Yeah, like the eyes. They actually have like personality. Like the rooster, like always like waking up. Like it reminded me of the chicken from Moana.
Yeah, me too.
Or say the chicken of Moana reminds me of the rooster. But yeah, it's like since even like the cats, like the one-eyed cat, just like has like It's not. It looks like a cartoon cat. Looks like Garfield type thing. Has humanistic qualities to it to give it a life for this world.
I just thought of Bill Murray in Zombieland. Do you have any regrets? Garfield, maybe.
Oh, he's like, no. Well, Garfield, maybe.
Garfield, maybe.
Yeah. I don't really know what. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Much to talk about. It's a wonderful, beautiful movie. It's sad.
I can't say it enough. It's like if you've been interested in this and you don't watch it, you're doing a disservice to yourself.
I do like. Yeah. I recommend it for sure. It's one of my favorite independent animated movies. It's definitely like I can't like. Obviously, I like. If rewatching this movie over and over again might be sad. But
well, I bought it and I'm glad I did.
Word. Well, I want to get that like I said, I want to get the DVD.
If I ever see it, I'll grab it for you.
Word. Performances are great. It's a wonderful story. It's really interesting to see all of these like really serious and like problems that people can have, like depression to anxiety, like actually represented in a very honest way that doesn't really create a negative stigmatism, but still has like a sense of happiness and hope at the end of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't speak to the like the Max storyline with in the sense of like about the autism and Asperger's syndrome and everything like that, but as someone that has been depressed and anxiety and stuff like that, I really do feel like there are, and I'm going to say aspects again because I can't speak to the autism side of it, but it's like, to me, it feels like it was very much crafted with like love, and understanding on a lot of these things. And it is just really like you said, it's a hopeful way to look at these things. Yeah. Without being like, you're sad, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like kind of in your face about it. Yeah. Because there's this whimsical aspect to it. I just think they talk about these things in a very like careful and caring way. Yeah. Which I think is really impressive, especially from a movie to come out. Well, so long ago, and you're like, wow, they actually did a really good job on this. Well,
a lot of times what I feel is like when you have a character that has autism, it's more used as like a plot device, and it's not really like it's like in The Predator. The kid who like he can read alien languages, but
like he deciphers somehow this. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah,
like it's kind of like, well, that's kind of, but like it's what Adam Elliott has created was it's like these characters have these symptoms, and we just see them carry out their life with that, and we see the cause and effect with what happens in their relationship and with those around them. It's not like these are the driving forces of the story.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they are literally themes and they are just conversations inside of it. The driving force of this story is Mary and Max's relationship.
Yeah.
And that's what I think makes this a very special movie, is that it can actually have these conversations about all these very dark themes and whatnot without making us feel like we're being taught a lesson about one of them, you know?
That's a good point. Yeah. It feels like just an honest conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. About it.
Like,
Through the medium of
like,
film.
Yeah, because the one thing I was thinking about, you know, and I always think is like, well, like the meaning, the theme of the movie, or like the moral of the story, and it's like there really isn't like a huge moral of this other than like, you know, just accept you for who you are. Like that the heart that Max gets that he sends to Mary is like, love yourself first. You know, which I think is a very important message through for this movie. You know, because like that's a thing that Max has already kind of found that for himself. He's already found like he's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with me. Mary's continuously is finding stuff wrong with her. She doesn't like her.
That's a good point.
Her mole, you know, her birthmark. She gets it removed, and she feels foolish for that. You know, like she's constantly trying to, you know, impress Damien, and you know, it's like she's never found a time to love herself.
Well, and it's like an interesting thing too, because we're from the perspective of Max. It's like when we first meet him, he's a 44 man with Asperger's that has been navigating the world in this not condition, but in this.
That's who he is, you know.
You know, so it's like, well, you know, it's like with his situation, he has like one of two options. He either does learn to accept himself for who he is and what his strengths are and what his weaknesses are,
how to navigate the world,
or be miserable.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like he's just kind of like, you know,
he'll eat his chocolate hot dogs and be happy.
I like to pick up cigarette butts because then they wash out into the ocean and then fish get addicted to nicotine. You know, like.
But that is a joke because obviously a fish could not smoke underwater because a cigarette could not stay.
Oh yeah, like you cannot use a lighter in the ocean. You know, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like there is this like like very sweet thing about it.
Yeah, and like you see his logic because his logic isn't wrong, but it's just like misguided.
It's just really matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a really big thing that I can connect with. When I was a kid, I was very much like that. I took so much so literal. It was really hard for me like understand a joke. Lots of jokes had to get explained to me. You know.
I mean, like I was saying earlier too, I just love his voice in this.
Yeah,
I really do. If you're atheist, a prostitute.
Also, it's interesting, like, you know, with, you know, he was raised Jewish, and he admits, like, it's like this is probably the first time that Mary's ever heard of what an atheist is, and this man is telling her that he's an atheist because, and also just like his understanding of a concept of that God is like more of just this creation for people to feel belonging and a place like for acceptance type thing. Yeah. All right. Yeah. This movie just goes on so many different. It's like every letter there's a new fucking thing to be talking about.
Yeah, it's cute. All right, rate it. Are we done?
Yeah. I think like I'd give this a 4 or 4.5.
I was gonna say solid 4.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, solid 4.
So part of me is wondering like why don't I want to give it a 5? Because I do like it so much. The pacing a little bit.
Yeah, the pacing is bright.
Yeah.
Like I said, it didn't really bug me, but I see why.
Yeah.
You know.
It does kind of trudge along a little bit.
You could have knocked off like 15 minutes.
Maybe like 5.
I feel like you could have done it way quicker. Like this could have been an hour and 15 minute long because it's an hour and a half, right?
It's like an hour and 25, hour 28. But
yeah, it's a 4 out of 5.
Yeah. I give it a 4 out of 5, 100%.
Let me write that down before I forget.
Yeah, we're keeping track of stuff now. Look at us.
Growing.
Look at us go.
Do you want to tell them what we're doing next week? Because I don't remember.
We're doing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, shit.
Because Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves coming out. So we decided to do... Well, we're kind of doing a video game or a game like a property to film block type thing, because also Super Mario Brothers is coming out, so we're also going to do the Super Mario Brothers movie, the first one. Woof. And
if you didn't know there was a Dungeons and Dragons movie out in the 2000s, please look up the trailer. It looks like a piece.
There was 3 of them.
There are 3 of them.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
Oh, it's bad.
It was bad.
But yeah, we'll probably also because of like the popularity of The Last of Us, and like that. Now we know what a good adaptation looks like. A great, almost damn near perfect adaptation looks like. We're gonna look at the worst and talk about the best and the worst.
So yeah, we're doing this for Dungeons and Dragons.
It was his idea.
Kind of.
It was 100% your idea.
Nah. All right. Anyways, so yeah, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe,
Follow,
leave reviews,
comments,
and tell your friends about
stars, star ranks. Are we for? I almost said hot dogs. What is our
it.
thing?
Chocolate hot dogs. What?
Carrots. That's our rating system.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. So 4 out of 5 carrots for Mary and Max.
Hey,
Check it out. Cool. So this is Tommy.
it's Jake.
This is Tommy.
Tommy and Jacob's Big State.
Bye, y'all.